I'm Andreas Hamberger, and this is the Hamberger Report, where I cover AI governance, enterprise architecture, and the technology decisions that actually matter to the people who have to make them. If you find this useful, subscribe and hit the like button. It helps more professionals find the channel. Now let's get into it. $800. That is what it cost a team of UC San Diego researchers to intercept live satellite communications for 7 months. No hacking, no intelligence clearances, a rooftop antenna, a software-defined radio, and patience. What they captured included military vessel communications, corporate banking transactions, cellular calls and texts, and critical infrastructure, operational data. Approximately 48% of the geostationary satellites they monitored were transmitting without any encryption at all. I'm Andreas Hamberger. This is the Hamberger Report, where I cover the orbital economy and what it means for AI governance on Earth. A security leader at a logistics company recently told me she had run the hidden space operator assessment I covered in an earlier episode. What she found surprised her. 17 dependencies her organization had not met. Maritime tracking, remote site connectivity, disaster recovery failover paths. None of them used end-to-end encryption at the satellite layer. Her organization was broadcasting in the clear. She had not known the orbital economy is scaling at extraordinary speed. 3 of the world's largest companies are racing to place more than 1 million satellites overhead this decade. The security foundation beneath all of that infrastructure is not keeping pace. Today, I want to show you how wide that gap has become and what your organization can do about it. Three parallel developments in February 2026 reveal the scale of what is being built overhead. SpaceX filed with the US Federal Communications Commission for a constellation of up to 1 million satellites. The FCC accepted the application within 5 days. Amazon's Project Kuiper, marketed as Amazon Leo, has already deployed more than 200 satellites and received FCC approval for approximately 7,700 in total. Commercial service is planned for late 2026. Blue Origin's TeraWave, announced in January, is a 408 satellite system targeting enterprise and data center connectivity at up to 6 terabits per second, with deployment starting from late 2027. Combined, these 3 constellations represent more than 1 million new objects in orbit within a decade, each one a potential node in a distributed compute network operating above terrestrial jurisdiction. Harvard astrophysicist Jonathan McDowell has noted that a constellation of that scale would require dedicated spacecraft just to manage the debris removal problem. The FCC's stated posture is what its chairman has called a default to yes framework for satellite applications. SpaceX is seeking waivers from standard processing rounds that allow competitors to comment and from deployment milestone requirements. The regulatory signal is clear. Speed of deployment is the priority. Security does not appear to be the constraint. In earlier episodes, I introduced 2 vectors in what I call the Kardashev framework for the orbital economy. Corporate Kardashev companies like SpaceX and Amazon scaling to escape terrestrial constraints. Sovereign Kardashev, nations building governance alongside capability. The UC San Diego research reveals a 3rd vector, one I want to name directly. Adversarial Kardashev, actors who exploit the governance gap, the other 2 create. Time =1s. Russia's Luch 2 satellite has approached at least 17 European geostationary satellites since 2023, positioning itself within their narrow data transmission beams. The European Space Agency briefed EU defense ministers that at least 60% of commercial geostationary satellites serving Europe lack end-to-end encryption on their command uplinks. When Luch 1 fragmented on the 30th of January 2026, Russia launched replacement-capable spacecraft within weeks. Time =1s. There is a compounding dimension here. The software-defined satellite market is projected to grow from 234 satellites in 2024 to over 10,000 by 2031. Each one a node that can be updated, reconfigured, and if inadequately secured, compromised. One AI system recently identified a security flaw in satellite encryption software in 4 days that human review had missed for 3 years. The same capability is available to adversaries. Time = 2s and unencrypted satellite traffic intercepted today can be stored and decrypted later as quantum computing matures. Forrester projects that more than 90% of Asia-Pacific enterprises will make quantum security a strategic priority in 2026. Satellite infrastructure operates on replacement cycles measured in decades. The math is uncomfortable. There are 4 things your organization can do now, before the window closes. First, map your satellite dependencies. Extend any existing supply chain or vendor assessment to include data transit paths. Most organizations will find dependencies they did not know existed: maritime tracking, remote connectivity, disaster recovery failover. The logistics leader I mentioned at the start found 17. Second, verify encryption end-to-end. Encrypted service at the provider level does not guarantee encrypted transit at the satellite layer. Ask your providers for specific confirmation of end-to-end encryption on the satellite segments handling your data. The UC San Diego research found that assumption was wrong in nearly half the cases they monitored. Third, conduct an orbital supply chain audit. If your organization is in scope for New Zealand's space regulatory compliance deadline in July 2026 or privacy notification requirements taking effect in May, this audit is not optional. Satellite dependencies your organization has not mapped or out-of-scope risks you have not assessed. Fourth, begin post-quantum planning for satellite-dependent data. If you transmit data via satellite that retains value for 5 or more years, the Harvest Now Decrypt Later threat is already active against you today. The governance decisions made before orbital infrastructure reaches full scale are exponentially more effective than those made after. The sky is full of secrets. The question is whether your organization is one of them. If you are tracking what the commercial space race means for your organization's AI governance, subscribe to the Hamberger Report for daily insights. And if someone at your organization owns the technology risk framework, share this with them. The conversation needs to start now. That is the Hamberger Report for today. If this was useful, subscribe and hit the like button. It helps more professionals find the channel. You will find links to everything we covered in the description below. I am Andreas Hamberger, and I will see you tomorrow.